Hi everyone, today we are working with I can solve two-step equations, and so let's take a look at this first one. X minus 3 all over 4 equals negative 2. I don't know that answer off the top of my head, so I'm going to go ahead and draw some railroad tracks and go ahead and get started. So I'm working on the left-hand side because that's where my variable is, and this is x minus 3 all over 4. The x minus 3, you can see, are stuck together over 4. So I need to get rid of this 4 before I can work with that x minus 3, which is weird because if you think about it, we have subtraction and division, and normally I would work with that subtraction first. But because it's that entire quantity x minus 3 divided by 4, I got to work with that or get rid of that 4 first. So it's divided by 4. I'm going to use the inverse operation and multiply both sides by 4. So now I am left with x minus 3 equals negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Now I am able to add 3 to both sides. So x equals negative 5. I can go ahead and check this just the same way as I check my other equations. So instead of x, I'm going to plug in my solution, which was negative 5 minus 3 over 4. And we're going to see if that's equal to negative 2. And I'm going to plug this into my calculator using that fraction button and putting negative 5 minus 3 on top, and then the 4 in the denominator, and seeing what happens. And yep, sure enough, it equals negative 2. All right, let's take a look at another equation. We have 3.8 minus w equals 20.7. So again, I don't know what that is off the top of my head, so I'm going to do some railroad tracks. And when I look at this, I have 3.8 minus w equals 20.7. At first, it doesn't seem like a two-step equation until I think about minus how many w's. And I'm going to actually put in a 1 there. So it's minus 1w. And now you'll see how that works itself into being two steps. So the first thing I need to take care of is getting rid of this 3.8. My gut tells me that I should add 3.8 because we're subtracting, but then I wouldn't have opposite pairs. And I remember I want to get that 3.8 gone. So I'm going to actually use a negative 3.8 or subtract 3.8 off of both sides. So on the left-hand side, the 3.8 minus 3.8 goes away. Now be very careful. This is a negative 1w left. And then I have 20.7 minus 3.8, which is 16.9. So now I have a negative 1 times w, so I'm going to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. W equals negative 16.9. Let's go ahead and check our answer. I'm going to squeeze my check in over here. 3.8 minus, my solution was a negative 16.9. And I want to see if that equals 20.7. So I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator. And yep, I get 20.7. So my solution is w equals negative 16.9. Hopefully you have a better handle on those. We're going to do one more problem working with a word problem, and here it comes. All right, here's the problem. Mrs. Sletton has 50 fire ticks. She gives 3 away to students each class. She now has 38 fire ticks. How many classes has she had? So I'm going to start with the question and box it. How many classes? And remember, that's going to be my variable. So I'm going to write x equals number of classes. And then I'm going to go back through and I'm going to circle my numbers. So Mrs. Sutton has 50 fire tickets. She gives 3 away to students each class. She now has 38. Okay, and then I'm going to try and figure out where that x would go. So she has, that's an important word, that's what she starts with, and then she gives, so she gets rid of 3 away to students each class. That's where that variable is going to come in. So I'm going to put an x above it and circle it. And now she has, so now kind of is like an equals, this is where we are, now has 38 fire tickets. So how many classes has she had? All right. So I'm going to start with the 50. That's where she starts. And then she gives, that's minus 3 every class. So that's 3 times x. And now, here's my new total, she has 38 after giving those away. So here's my equation. I'm going to go ahead and start solving it. So draw my railroad track. I want to get rid of the 50 first, so I'm going to subtract 50 from both sides. So I end up with negative 3x equals I'm going to use my calculator. 38 minus 50 is negative 12. So negative 3x equals negative 12. I'm going to divide by negative 3. Sorry, I'm getting off the page here. Negative 12 divided by negative 3 is 4. So x, I'm going to write it over here, equals 4. And I'm just going to think that through. If Mrs. Sletton starts with 50 fire tickets and she's giving away 3 every class period and she had 4 class periods, that would end her up with 38 fire tickets. So I go back up to here and see what my variable stood for, number of classes. So it's 4 classes. All right, hopefully you guys have a better understanding of solving two-step equations. Have a great day.